Hello, wonderful viewers. Welcome to SKB Sports TV, and this is the Sports Couch. And today, I'm here to delve into this important issue. You see, people refer to Cristiano Ronaldo as Mr. Champions League, Mr. Champions League, and is that true? We'll find out at the end of this session. And I hope you enjoy today's show. Now, let's delve deep into it. We all know Cristiano Ronaldo started from Sporting Lisbon, okay? And I think it was in a pre-season game with Manchester United that Sir Alex Ferguson discovered Cristiano Ronaldo. And having lost out on signing Ronaldinho, you see, he lost out on signing Ronaldinho to FC Barcelona. Because of that, he wanted, this marquee signing, and he saw Cristiano Ronaldo, saw the potential in him in that pre-season match, what he exhibited, and decided to sign him. Okay, and you realize that when Cristiano Ronaldo came, he was a raw talent. Okay, yes, he had the potential, but his talent was raw. You see, we are enjoying some of his great goals behind me, and you realize that he's really developed into a goal machine. So he was signed in 2003, the same year that Barcelona also signed Ronaldinho. And you realize that Cristiano Ronaldo, when he came to Manchester United, as I said, he was a raw talent, and he had the opportunity of learning to, in the footsteps of a great striker such as Ruud van Nistelrooy, who was very dominant in the Champions League and in the EPL at that time, top scorer in the Champions League in various seasons, and also who was a hit in the EPL when he was signed from PSV Eindhoven. So that's how it was. So Cristiano Ronaldo, you see, he's so unique, especially with his record in the Champions League. And today we walk through his record and compare him with other greats. And as we all know, the Champions League was just a rebranding of the European Cup. Me, sometimes personally, I prefer to call it European Cup. You see, that's how most of the pundits call it, because that was the famous name for this famous trophy and this famous tournament. So personally, I sometimes prefer to call it or refer to it as the European Cup. But sometimes, you see, we draw a line between the European Cup era and the UEFA Champions League era. And today, my task here is to, show the reason why Cristiano Ronaldo is Mr. UEFA Champions League. So mostly, I'll be focusing on the UEFA Champions League era in 1992-93 downwards. But there will be some times that I'll have to go back and compare, in the European Cup era, some players that also dominated there, because it's the same competition, just that the name changed. So that's how it is. So Cristiano Ronaldo, we all recall that his best ever season at Manchester United was in the 2007-2008 season, where he bagged a total number of 42 goals, and at that time it was unheard of. Yes, I remember in times past some players, Roy Mackay and co, this player Henrik Larsson, at that time for Celtic, and some other players, they were very prolific at that time, especially also the lower leagues. You see, but in the top 5 leagues, it was unheard of for a player to score 42 goals at that time, 2007-2008. And Ronaldo achieved that feat. So we all knew that he was a great player, scoring 31 Premier League goals, which was also unheard of at that time. Even the great Alan Shearer, I do remember him, bagging that number of goals in the EPL from 1992-93. And coincidentally and surprisingly, both the EPL and the UEFA Champions League started the same year. The English First Division was renamed into the EPL in 92-93, and also the European Cup was renamed into the UEFA Champions League in 92-93. So that's how it was. So Cristiano Ronaldo scored 31 remarkable EPL goals in the 2007-2008 season. I think up to now it's Mo Salah that equaled that feat, or did he better it? I think he scored 31 or 32 goals with Liverpool some seasons ago. But at that time, it was unheard of. Okay, so Cristiano Ronaldo achieved that feat, and you see, Real Madrid was watching, because Real Madrid, we all know their policy, especially with Florentino Perez, his first coming from the early 2000s to 2006, his Galactico policy, and he came back in 2009. He started that policy again. He signed Kaká on a world record £56 million at that time, and some few weeks later, Cristiano Ronaldo came for £80 million and broke Kaká's world record, which lasted for just, I think, 2 weeks or so. He signed Karim Mustafa, Benzema, Xabi Alonso, and all these great players. It was a new project that peaked 4 years later with the inclusion of Gareth Bale, and we all know that the last 9 seasons, Real Madrid have conquered Europe, on 5 different occasions, winning 5 European Cups in 9 seasons, 3 in a row between 2015 to 2019, and also they won 4 in 5 seasons between 2013 to 2019. So that's Real Madrid for you. So Cristiano Ronaldo was being monitored by Real Madrid, and he spent another season, that was 2008-2009, where he led Manchester United all the way to the Champions League finals again, this time at the Stadio Olimpico, where they lost to one of the best assembled teams in the Champions League. I think one day I would come and make a case for FC Barcelona, even though I'm a Madrid fan. But that Barcelona team was virtually unplayable, coached by Josep Pep Guardiola, with Thierry Henry, Daniels, Samuel Eto'o at the leading marksman, the striker, and also Lionel Messi. In midfield, they had Xavi Hernandez, they had Andres Iniesta, Sergio Busquets, Carlos Puyol, Rafael Marquez at the back. Yaya Toure was there. I remember in the finals, Yaya Toure played at the centre back position. He played as a centre back. They also had, all these players: Eric Abidal, and Carlos Puyol. You see Dani Alves. That team, that FC Barcelona team of 2008-2009, that Manchester United met and lost, was virtually unplayable. You see, Barcelona have had great teams in recent times. Their team of MVP Messi via Pedro of 2010-11, that also conquered Manchester United again, was also exceptional. And also their famous MNS. One day we would take time and go through, the best assembled squads in a season in the Champions League that dominated the Champions League and won a particular season. We will go through that. So Cristiano Ronaldo, as we all know, lost the Champions League finals with Manchester United. You see, Manchester United became the first team, I think, in the new millennium, to attempt to defend the European Cup. One day I'll come and talk about the curse of the European Cup, or the curse of the UEFA Champions League title, and the reason why AC Milan and Real Madrid are the best 2 teams in the Champions League. And even if you look at the table in descending order, Real Madrid, AC Milan, you see, they come before the other grandmasters: Bayern Munich, Liverpool, Barcelona, and Ajax. The reason why Real Madrid and AC Milan are the best 2 teams in the UEFA Champions League or the European Cup combined, I'll make a case for that. It's not easy to defend the European Cup, but these 2 teams were the last 2 teams to achieve that feat. So Manchester United won at Luzhniki Stadium when John Terry slipped during the penalty shootouts, and they were able to win on penalties. And remarkably, Cristiano Ronaldo missed the penalty in that match. We all remember that famous wet night in Moscow at the Luzhniki Stadium. And you realize that they attempted to defend the European Cup, something which had not been done since 1989-1990, when Arrigo Sacchi defended the European Cup with AC Milan. That even had Carlo Ancelotti and Costa Curta and Paolo Maldini. I'll touch on them, players that have won the most Champions League European Cup. So that's how it was. And they lost to that FC Barcelona team that won the 6-tuplex, 6 trophies out of 6. All the trophies they competed for that season, 2008-2009, they won it in the year 2009. So they won all those trophies. So You could forgive Manchester United. They couldn't win their 4th European Cup. I always say that sometimes I feel for Sir Alex Ferguson and Manchester United as a whole. Manchester United could have easily been part of the Grandmasters, the special teams, which are just 6 in the Champions League with the UEFA badge of honor. I touched on it the other time. And how do you get it? You get it by winning the competition 3 times consecutively in a row, or to win it at least 5 times. And if you look at the Grandmasters in ascending order, you realize that AFC Ajax Amsterdam, they have that record by winning it in 71, 72, 73, and also 95. You realize that FC Barcelona, the next team, have won it 5 times. 92, 2006, 2009, 2011, and 2015. You realize that both Bayern Munich and Liverpool are all on 6 titles. And Bayern even won it 3 times consecutively after Ajax. That was in 74, 75, 76. Liverpool won it in 77, 78. That's the European Cup. And you also realize that they've won it at least 5 times because they are on 6. And also, the next team is Associazione Calcio Milano, the team of my mentor, striker, Mr. Eugene Edupoku of Oyepa FM. Yeah, that's his team. My mentor, he's a friend to Associazione Calcio Milano, AC Milan. Milan. Almost at end. I just love that club. You see, all these Grandmasters, I just love them for the feats they've achieved. Even FC Barcelona. I'm a Madrid fan, but I don't hate Barca. I support Barca in Europe most times. And people don't understand. So that's how it is. Milan too won it in the late 60s. And also, they also won it in 89, 90. As I said, they defended it. And they won it again in 94 when they whitewashed FC Barcelona, that Johan Cruyff's dream team, by 4-0. When Daniel Masaru backed the brace, and also Dejan Savicevic scored. I also remember Marcel Desailly rounded it off, and they were underdogs, but they defeated Johan Cruyff's dream team, the FC Barcelona team. They defeated them by 4-0 in Athens in 1994. Milan will win it again in 2003 when they defeated their country rivals, La Vecchia Signora, the old ladies of Italian football, Juventus. That was coached by Marcello Lippi then, if my memory serves me right. Yeah, I think so. And they also won it again in 2007. So Milan too have won it 7 times. So they are also part of the Grandmasters. And you realize that Real Madrid have won it a record 14 times, and they are the only team in the Grandmasters that have defended the Champions League not just once but twice. They won it in the first 5 editions, and also between 2015 to 2019 too, they won it 3 times in a row. So that's how it is. So Manchester United could have easily been part of these Grandmasters had they been able to at least beat Barcelona in those 2 finals. And also Sir Alex Ferguson could have easily been the first coach to win 4 European Cups, but that Barcelona team, that Pep Guardiola Barcelona team, was an all-conquering team. So Cristiano Ronaldo, after losing the 2009 finals in Rome at the Stadio Olimpico to his great rival Lionel Messi's Barca, Madrid came calling, and he honored that move, which was the most expensive player at that time, £80 million. His fellow partner in crime in terms of the front 3, BBC, Gareth Bale, I think 4 years or 5 years later, 4 years later in 2013 broke that record. It came for £85 million. But at that time, it was the most expensive money paid for any player. And when Cristiano Ronaldo came to Madrid, we all know the records he has. You see, he's a player I admire so much. Personally, I think Lionel Messi, all round, if you put everything together, is a better player than Cristiano Ronaldo. Personally, that's what I think. But his life story sometimes inspires me more than even Lionel Messi's, because Messi is naturally talented. Ronaldo is talented, but he bettered his talent by practicing more, dedicating his time to his art, and like pushing himself to achieve, and that has been his success. You see, and I'm so much in love with Cristiano Ronaldo, and his life story is an inspiration to me. So you realize that Cristiano Ronaldo, let's walk through his few records just even in La Liga. Cristiano Ronaldo has 311 goals in just 292 matches in La Liga, and he's the only player in La Liga history that averaged I think it's 1.03 or 1.04 goals per game. That means that his 9-year stint at Real Madrid, he managed to score on the average a goal per game in La Liga. Even more than that, because 311 goals in 292. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo also scored 450 goals in just 438 games at Real Madrid. That's also an average of 1.03. So you realize that when he came to Madrid, he had a Herculean task, because Raul Gonzalez was on 323 goals as the all-time top scorer for Real Madrid for a long time, because Raul leapfrogged Alfredo Di Stefano in 2009. Yeah, I remember 2009. It was a La Liga match that Raul achieved that feat when he leapfrogged Alfredo Di Stefano into second place, and Raul became the all-time top scorer for Real Madrid on 309 goals, and Raul completed his career on 323 goals, you see. But Cristiano Ronaldo took 9 years to surpass Raul, and you realize that he's an extraordinary talent, an athlete. So at Real Madrid, if my memory serves me right, he scored 120 Champions League goals at Real Madrid. 120, yeah. And with some of the goals he scored at Manchester United too, and also Juventus, and now back at Manchester United, you realize that he's simply a goal machine, as we term him. But this is a player that started as a winger, okay, or as an attacking midfielder, mostly on the left wing. But he transitioned. He underwent a lot of metamorphosis and changes. You see, in getting to the height that he is now. Fans and people, and rightfully so, can claim that he's in the conversation of the GOAT, the greatest of all time. You can make a solid argument for Cristiano Ronaldo. You see, that shows that he's an exceptional talent, and I'm so much in love with him. He's one of Real Madrid's all-time greats. So that's how it is. So you realize that Cristiano Ronaldo was very successful at Real Madrid with 450 goals in just 438 matches. As I said, 120 Champions League goals and 311 La Liga goals. So let's see whether Cristiano Ronaldo is indeed Mr. UEFA Champions League. To do that, we have to compare him with the players in times past, or other players who have similar records just like him. You see, the recently ended Champions League finals at Saint-Denis in Paris, that Real Madrid won their 14th European Cup. It saw so many players from Real Madrid level Cristiano Ronaldo's record in the Champions League as the player with most titles in the UEFA Champions League era. Okay, if you combine the European Cup era, it is Real Madrid's legend Francesco Paco Gento that has the most European Cups, 6 European Cups that Gento won, 6, and as at now is the all-time record. So combining both the European Cup and the Champions, you realize that Francesco Paco Gento is the player with most titles. And you see, some records don't lie in the Champions League. The reason why Real Madrid are the most successful in the Champions League, one day I'll take time and go and walk through it. If you come to the all-time goal scoring charts, you realize that the first 10, you have at least 5 Real Madrid players in it who are either currently playing or with their former players. Ruud van Nistelrooy, Karim Mustafa Benzema, Raul Gonzalez, Cristiano Ronaldo, Alfredo Di Stefano. Realize that all these players played for Real Madrid at the point in time, and they are in the top 10 most prolific players in the Champions League. Now when you come to the players with most titles too, as I said, Francesco Paco Gento of Real Madrid, he won 6 European Cups. Now in the Champions League era, Cristiano Ronaldo has 5, which is the most by any player. And now he shares that record with Karim Benzema, with Luka Modric, with Toni Kroos, with Casemiro, all these players at Real Madrid. and also I think Paulo Maldini also won 5 Champions League titles as a player, because he was part of the 1989-90 team that won it with Arrigo Sacchi back to back, even with Carlo Ancelotti as a player then, and also Alessandro Costa also won 5. He was also part of the 1989-90 team that defended the European Cup back to back, and also won it in 2000 and in 94, 2003 and 2007. So all these players are on 5 Champions League. So in the Champions League era, Cristiano Ronaldo is the joint player with most titles. Joint 5 titles. That's the most by any player. But if you combine the entire European Cup, he will be second to Real Madrid's legend Francesco Paco Gento. We all recall that he passed on recently, and for me, sometimes I think trophy-wise, I think he's Real Madrid's all-time great, the greatest of all time. I can make a case for him, because having looked at Francesco Paco Gento's record, you see Real Madrid have 35 La Liga titles, and he alone won 12 of them. 12 out of the 35 La Liga titles he won for Real Madrid. Now Real Madrid has 14 European Cups. Francesco Paco Gento won 6 out of the 14. So these are the 2 big trophies for Real Madrid, and he was very, very much instrumental. He was an outside forward, or mostly a winger, and IFHHS, that is International Football for History and Statistics, they term him as the greatest Spanish player of all time. He was the honorary president for Real Madrid and passed on recently, and I was very sad. You realize that in 2014, when the legendary Alfredo Di Stefano passed on, he succeeded him as the honorary president for Real Madrid. And because Alfredo Di Stefano was the honorary president for Real Madrid until 2014 that he died, and Francesco Paco Gento took over, and he also passed on. And you see, for me, he's arguably Real Madrid's best ever player. You can make a case for him, you can make a case for Cristiano Ronaldo, you can also make a case for Alfredo Di Stefano. And most Madridistas refer to Alfredo Di Stefano as the all-time great. And some also refer to Cristiano Ronaldo. And you see, you can make all these arguments, and it will be very much valid. You see, you have a lot of reason to make these arguments. You see, so that's how it is. And you realize that Cristiano Ronaldo is an exceptional player. So I always say that I divide Real Madrid's European Cup history into three generations or dispensations. Always people talk of the fact that Real Madrid, it's like they are bullying the other teams. Why is it that only one team has won even twice as many as the second team, behind them? That's AC Milan. AC Milan are the second. As I said, they are on 7 titles. Real Madrid have won twice as many as even the second place team. But I always say that Real Madrid's European Cup history, haven't always been that rosy. They went on a 32-year drought between 1966 to 1999. Real Madrid didn't win any European Cup. That was a period of 32 years. So during that time, if you were born at that time, you might say Real Madrid is the most useless team, because you would hear of stories that they dominated in times past, but during your time, you will not see them winning. Just like how yesterday I was saying, Chelsea went on a 50-year drought of winning the English First Division, that later on became the Premier League. Just as Liverpool went on a 30-year drought of winning the English First Division or the Premier League. You see, so there are times in every club's history that you go on a dry spell. Real Madrid, in their quest to winning their 10th European Cup, La Decima, it took them 12 years from 2002 to 2014 until the Don Carlo Ancelotti delivered it for them in Lisbon when they beat their city rivals Club Atletico de Madrid. So you realize that Real Madrid's European Cup history is very rich, but they've gone through a lot of pain. I'm a Madrid fan, so I can attest to that fact. There was a time that Real Madrid went out of the UEFA Champions League 6 times in a row. From the round of 16, they couldn't play in the Champions League quarterfinals. And teams like Juventus, Arsenal, Bayern Munich, AS Roma, realized that Liverpool and Olympique Lyon, they eliminated Madrid 6 times in a row consecutively from the Champions League, round of 16. And that was a time that Real Madrid found it difficult to play against Olympique Lyon, because they went they went, into the same group for 2 consecutive seasons. I remember 2005, 6, and 6, 7. Olympique Lyon will discipline Madrid in Stade de Gerland in Lyon, and will come to the Bernabeu and will snatch a draw. The following season, 2006, 2007, we had brought on Antonio Cassano, Cicinho, Ruud van Nistelrooy, went to the same group with Olympique Lyon. They beat us 2-0. They came to the Bernabeu, they drew 2-2. I remember Florent Malouda scoring in that 2-2 drawn game at the Bernabeu. So we realized that all these times were difficult times for Madrid. And at that time, when Madrid makes it out of the group, they'll be eliminated from the Champions League round of 16. And Lyon also beat Madrid again in the round of 16 in 2009-10 with Claude Puel. They had players like Delgado, Miralem Pjanic, Jean Macoun, I remember Lisandro Lopez, was it Ali Sissoko, and also Hugo Lloris was their goalkeeper. That Olympique Lyon team, I remember very well, that eliminated Manuel Pellegrini's Real Madrid from the Champions League round of 16. See, so Real Madrid have gone through all these, dry spells, difficult moments, and all these, times. So the difference between Madrid and other teams, as I always say, is that they make sure when their time comes, they win. They build a team in such a way that they're able to dominate for long. So maybe the first 11 seasons of the European Cup, Real Madrid won 6 out of the first 11, winning the first 5 in a row. 6 years later, in '66, they won the 11th, and that was the first generation. And now I will name it as the Alfredo Di Stefano, Francesco Paco generation. I'm tempted to put Francesco Paco Gento, as the leader of that team. I know Alfredo Di Stefano is arguably the greatest ever European player, especially most Madrid fans will tell you. But you see, the reason why I hold Francesco Paco Gento in high esteem is that you realize that Francesco Paco Gento, he was part of the Di Stefano era that won the first 5 editions, but stayed on 6 years later to win the seat. And he also even lost 2 finals in '62 to Benfica and '64 to FC International Milan. So you realize that Bela Gutmann's Benfica that beat both Barcelona and Real Madrid back to back, and Heleno Herrera's Inter Milan in '64. Francesco Paco Gento was part of that team that lost that finals. Okay, so having won the first 5, he lost 2 finals in '62, '64 before winning the last, which was his 6th European Cup in '66. And this player I'm talking about, Francesco Paco Gento, it's not that he was just a mere outside forward or a winger. As I said, International Football for History and Statistics, IFHHS, they rate him as the greatest Spanish player of all time. He was very prolific. He scored as many as 183 goals for Real Madrid, playing as a winger or an outside forward. And if you look at Real Madrid's all-time top scorers, the first 10, he's part of it. So he was that Spanish winger or Spanish, attacking midfielder or the outside forward, was a very, 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 successful player. And he was very, very key in all the 6 finals. He played an integral role, scoring and, playing an integral role in that 6 European Cup wins, the first 6. You see, in the European Cup era, Real Madrid won the most, that was 6. And in the UEFA Champions League era, they've won the most, that is 8. So they are a special club, and they are the club of the European Cup. So that was that generation. The next generation was after that 32-year dry spell. I'll come back to Cristiano Ronaldo soon. After that 32-year dry spell, Real Madrid came back in '98 at the Amsterdam Arena when they beat La Vecchia Signora, the old ladies of Italian football, Juventus, a star-studded Juventus team that had Angelo Peruzzi in goal, that had these players like, I think, Edgar Davids, Zinedine Zidane, Alessandro Del Piero, all these great players Juventus had, Antonio Conte, all these players, but Madrid beat them by a long goal. So that generation, in 5 seasons, Madrid won 3 European Cups in 5 seasons. They won in '98 by defeating Juventus by a lone goal. Predrag Mijatovic, the former player, legend, and sporting director of Real Madrid, he got that goal. And in 2000, in Saint-Denis, in Paris, Real Madrid defeated their country rivals, Valencia. That was coached by Hector Raul Cooper, one of the few non-European coaches to lose the UEFA Champions League finals. One day I'll touch on that. There's a case of a non-European coach winning the the European Cup, and one day I'll touch on that. Real Madrid won it again at Hampden Park in Glasgow when they beat Bayern for Leverkusen by 2-1. You all remember Zinedine Zidane's volley. So that generation, I'll name it the Raúl Blanco González generation. That had players like Jose Maria Guti Hernandez. You see, even in '98 we had Clarence Seedorf, Christian Panucci, Fernando Redondo came through the ranks. Later on, left to AC Milan to win the European Cup again, and Zinedine Zidane joined. Later on, Luis Figo, Real Madrid. We all remember the episode or the story behind Real Madrid snatching Luis Figo from Barcelona in the early 2000s. He also came. They were all part of that generation. Who can forget Iker Casillas and Roberto Carlos, virtually the greatest ever left back in the Champions League. So that was the generation. So that Raúl generation had all these players, and they went on a 12-year drought, as I said, in their quest to winning La Decima, the 10th title, of which they started a project again, as I said, in 2009 with Perez, and it took them 12 years, between 2002 to 2015. It took them 12 years, and that time you realize that generation too, I can name it the Cristiano Ronaldo, Sergio Ramos, Benzema. You see all these players, that generation, the Cristiano Ronaldo generation. Ronaldo won 4 European Cups at Real Madrid and left, but Benzema and co, they've managed to win the 5th one. So that generation too, in 9 seasons, they managed to win 5 European Cups. So Real Madrid, they've not always been dominant. They just pick their moments. They build their team in such a way that they can dominate for long. So that's how it is. So Alfredo Di Stefano and all these players, the first 5 European Cup wins, you realize that there were some players, Marquitos, Hector Real, players like Luis, Juan Carlos. We had players like, I think Ramon Kopa came through the ranks. Ramon Kopa won about 3 European Cups with Real Madrid. You have players like Ferenc Puskas, who scored a remarkable, I think, 83 international goals in just 85 matches or so. He was very prolific even at the international level for Hungary. So it's his name is the name that FIFA used to award the best goal in the calendar year, Puskás Awards, the FIFA Puskás Awards. He was also a player for Real Madrid. You see, so all these players were there. They came through that generation, and as I said, Francesco Paco Gento persisted. He stayed on and won the 6th European Cup. So he's the player with the most European Cups. But Cristiano Ronaldo in the Champions League is also the joint player with the most Champions League titles. That's 5. So coming back to Cristiano Ronaldo, you realize that this is the reason why I think Cristiano Ronaldo can claim to be Mr. Champions League. I believe in the UEFA Champions League era, winning it is much more difficult as compared to the European Cup era. The European Cup era was difficult in the sense that it was played as knockout football right from the first round. It was knockout, home and away. If you are knocked out, then you are out. Home and away, through to the finals. Sometimes some people say at that time it was just 4 teams. No, the teams were many, and it was only champions. That's why it was called the European Champions Clubs Cup. That's been renamed the UEFA Champions. It was only champions. Yesterday I said that Chelsea was the first team that qualified or that were eligible to represent England or even the whole of UK, because Chelsea won the first division in 1954-55. So at the inception or the commencement of the European Cup in 55-56, we realized that Chelsea were eligible. But at that time the education wasn't that much, and people didn't understand it. They saw it as a distraction to their league, especially the UK people, their government, their FA. So they didn't allow Chelsea to participate. So it was only champions of the various confederations or your league that were called to play. And it was L'Equipe, French football magazine, that brought up the idea, to bring a tournament that will pip the best European teams together. So at that time it was knockout football straight. So if Real Madrid wasn't good, they couldn't have dominated at that time, because it was knockout, home and away. The first round, the second round, the third round, you play the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and the finals. Knockout football. You see, the Champions League, as I always say, the European Cup, it has undergone a lot of metamorphosis and changes. Why am I saying this? Now we are in this current format that is just 13 matches that you play. You see, in 2024, UEFA are contemplating, or they are not even contemplating. They've said that the Champions League format will change and to be more matches and all that. But you realize that there was a time, it was I think for 3 or 4 seasons. I personally like that format. I wish we could go back to that format. You realize that for you to win the Champions League, you have to play as many as 17 matches to win. You see, the reason why I'm a Madrid fan, but I really respect this club, is that in every dispensation, in every era, in every format of the European Cup, Real Madrid have been successful. They were successful in the European Cup era. During the time that it was 2 group stages, they were successful. And during the time that, in this current format too, Madrid have been successful. Now, there was a time that, as I was saying, you play 17 matches, and this is how it was. You see, the Champions League normally it's 8 groups of 4. So the 8 groups of 4 is 32 teams, right? Now, in that format, I think it was in the late 90s to the early 2000s. It started in the late 90s to the 2002-2003 season. Yeah, the 2002-2003 season. So the first time Jose Mourinho won with FC Porto, when they beat AS Monaco in Gelsenkirchen, arena of Schalke 04. Yes, Veltins Arena. That's the current format we are in. So this current format of 13 matches that you play to win started way back in 2003-2004. Okay, but going backwards from that time, I think from the late 90s to 2002-2003, 2 group stages was played. So for you to be successful or win the Champions League, you have to play 17 matches. And at that time, you realize that you have a lot of UEFA Champions League matches to watch. So personally, I think UEFA should revert, or I would have loved UEFA to revert back to that format, other than bringing this complicated format they want to bring in 2024. Anyways, let's walk through that. What you realize was that the two teams from each group, that eight groups that qualified, you have 16 teams, just as in this format that the 16 teams will go and make a draw in the UEFA headquarters, mostly Nyon, Switzerland, Nyon, that will pair the round of 16 pairings. At that time, they didn't do the round of 16 pairings. The 16 teams will be paired in 4 groups of 4. 4 groups of 4. So you have 4 groups of 4. So the 16 teams will be paired, and they will play the second group stage. So that second group stage, you also play home and away 6 matches, in addition to the first group stage 6 matches, making 12. And the second group stage, because it was 4 groups of 4, the top 2 teams will be picked, and you have 8 teams from that that selection, and those 8 teams will make the quarter-final draw. So there was no round of 16. Instead of the round of 16, it was rather 6 group stage matches that were played. So you can realize that in the second group stage, you are likely to have a group with big teams, so the competition will be very keen. So personally, I love that format. When Manchester United won the treble, or the miracle of Barcelona in 1999, it was in that format. When Real Madrid beat Valencia in Saint-Denis, Paris in 1999-2000, at the start of the millennium, it was in that format. 2000-2001, when Bayern Munich beat Hector Raúl Cupé's Valencia at San Siro on penalties, it was in that format. When Real Madrid, beat Bayer Leverkusen with that volley from Zidane, which is arguably one of the greatest ever Champions League goals, it was in that format. You play 17 matches to win. And lastly, when AC Milan beat their country rivals Juventus at Old Trafford in one of the most boring ever finals we've witnessed, it was in that format. Because I remember, the most painful thing was that season, was it in the second group stage or the first group stage? Real Madrid was in the second group stage, I think so, with AC Milan, and Real Madrid beat Milan 3-1 at the Bernabeu. I think Real Madrid lost at the San Siro, but they beat AC Milan 3-1 at Bernabeu. I remember Raúl González scoring 2 goals. And Real Madrid and Milan qualified out of the second group stage, but Real Madrid met Juventus in the semi-finals, and they were eliminated. And Milan went all the way to win in that finals. You see, So there was a season that you played 2 group stages and 70 matches to win. And before UEFA, changed the format again into this current format we are in. That was in the 2003-2004 season when, as I said earlier on, Mourinho's FC Porto beat Didier Deschamps' AS Monaco. So the current format we are in started in 2003-2004. So the Champions League has undergone a lot of changes and metamorphoses. And I believe when it was 2 group stages, it was more keener. You have a lot of matches to watch, and the competition was very high. It was very difficult to win at that time. So that's how the Champions League is. So you realize that, as I'm saying, Cristiano Ronaldo is the joint, player with most Champions League titles. Now, for you to claim to be the best in this unique competition, the best club competition ever, and arguably the best competition in the world, you can compare it to the World Cup. I've heard Jose Mourinho and Alex Ferguson saying that the Champions League, winning it is even difficult than winning the World Cup. And sometimes you can understand them because it's very, very difficult. You have to, overcome difficult hurdles. You have to go to the Lions Den in difficult stadiums, intimidating stadiums like the Camp Nou, the San Siro, the Bernabeu, Etihad, Old Trafford. You have to grind results from these stadiums, Wanda Metropolitano, Stamford Bridge, all these difficult stadiums to play at. Allianz Arena, Signal Iduna. You have to grind results from these stadiums or these stadia for you to be successful in the Champions League. But the World Cup, for me, is just neutral grounds, 7 matches. Yes, the weight of the trophy, I respect it and I hold it in high esteem. And because it's 4 years, it makes it special. But I personally believe winning the Champions League is more difficult, and the excitement of the Champions League always gets better. That's what makes it special. This is a competition that we play every season, so we are supposed to take it for granted. But the excitement level always increases. Since I started watching the Champions League on Metro TV and TV3 in the early 2000s, the excitement level always gets better, up to date. So for me, I think it's the best competition, football competition. So that's how it was. Now let's look at other aspects of Cristiano Ronaldo's records in the Champions League that makes him the best. As I said, in the UEFA Champions League, he's the player with the most titles, which is joint 5 titles. Now, people always associate Cristiano Ronaldo with goal scoring. Do you know that Cristiano Ronaldo is the player with most assists? That's providing for your teammates to score. The player with the most assists in the UEFA Champions League, 42 assists. And the second player is his bitterness and long-time rival, Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi has 36 assists, just 6 behind Cristiano Ronaldo. But as it stands now, Cristiano Ronaldo is the player with most assists. The player with most penalty goals, that's the player who have converted the most penalty, is Cristiano Ronaldo, 19 penalties, followed by his bitterest rival or long-time rival, Lionel Messi, on 18 penalties, and Robert Lewandowski is third with 16 penalties. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo is the player with most free kick goals, the dead ball situations. He's the player with most free kick goals, and he has 12 free kick goals in the Champions League. The Brazilian free kick expert or legend, Juninho Pernambucano, the former Olympic Lyon player, also scored 10 free kicks in the Champions League. And you have players like Lionel Messi is on 5 free kicks. I think he's the third, together with Andrea Pirlo and some other players. So the most free kick goals in the Champions League is Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, let's look at this record. There is the difference between being part of a team that wins a trophy, okay? By all means, you get that trophy count. But the difference between participating, okay, in that match to win. Cristiano Ronaldo participated in all the 6 finals he has played in, and he won 5. There are players like Isco, for instance, at Real Madrid. He has won a lot of trophies, Champions League trophies, but it's not all the finals that he participated in. So he's also up there with the player to have participated in winning most Champions League finals. So he also has that record. Now let's come to the Champions League final goals. Cristiano Ronaldo is the player with the most goals in the finals. When you limit it to the Champions League, in the Champions League era, he has 4 goals in the finals. I remember him scoring against Chelsea at the Luzhniki in 2008. He scored a brace against Juventus in the 2016-17 season. And even that season too, he also made a record, the most knockout goals, which is now joint. Karim Benzema equaled it this season, this recently ended season. In the 2016-17 season, Cristiano Ronaldo led Real Madrid to winning the double of La Liga and the Champions League. Cristiano Ronaldo scored 10 knockout goals, which is the all-time joint record with Karim Mustafa Benzema. And Ronaldo also scored in La Decima in his homeland when Real Madrid beat city rivals Atletico Madrid 4-1 after extra time. Whereas Cristiano Ronaldo scored a penalty goal in the final. So he has 4 goals in the Champions League final, which is the most. The second to him is Gareth Bale with 3 goals. And you have, players like Samuel Eto'o. I think Eto'o also has 3 goals or so, or 2 goals. And you also have Raul Gonzalez, Lionel Messi. All these players are on 2 goals. You see, Sergio Ramos has 2 goals in the Champions League final, but Cristiano Ronaldo is the player with the most goals in the Champions League final. But you see, if you bring in the argument of the European Cup, 2 Real Madrid legends stand tall or high above Cristiano Ronaldo. Let me walk you through that. As I said, Ferenc Puskás, whose name is on the FIFA Puskás Awards, he scored 7 European Cup final goals. So if you combine it, Cristiano Ronaldo will be third on the standings. He scored 7 goals in the European Cup. Real Madrid beat Eintracht Frankfurt 7-3. That's the match with the highest number of goals, 10 goals. 7-3. In the 1960 final, you see, Real Madrid won the first 5 in a row. So the 5th in a row, the 5th one, that was 1959-60. You realize that Ferenc Puskás scored he scored 4 goals. 4. He scored 4. Now Alfredo Di Stefano also has 7 goals, and Alfredo Di Stefano, his record is also unique. You see, as I said, he won 5 European Cups with Real Madrid, the first 5, and he scored in each of the finals. He scored in 56, he scored in 57, he scored in 58, he scored in 59, and he also scored in 1960. But in 1960, he also had a hat-trick. So whilst Ferenc Puskás scored 4 goals in the 1960 finals, Alfredo Di Stefano, having scored in his previous 4 finals, bagged the hat-trick, making it 7. And Ferenc Puskás, his other 3 goals that made it 7 was in the 62 finals when Real Madrid lost to Eusebio's Benfica by 5-3. You see, Bernard Gutmann, as I earlier on said, Benfica's only 2 European Cup wins, they beat the Spanish giants in FC Barcelona and Real Madrid in 61 and 62. Having beaten FC Barcelona in 61 in the European Cup finals, Real Madrid came back after beating Eintracht Frankfurt in 60 in the 1959-60 finals. Barca played in the 61 final, lost to Benfica, and Real Madrid were back in the finals in 62 when they lost to Bela Gutmann's Benfica that had star player Eusebio. Real Madrid lost by 5-3, but the 3 goals were all scored by Ferenc Puskás, the Hungarian striker for Real Madrid, that legend. So Ferenc Puskás also scored 3 goals in addition to his 4 goals in the 1960 finals, making it 7. So in terms of the European Cup, you have these 2 players who are Real Madrid legends, greats, Alfredo Di Stefano and Ferenc Puskás, on 7 goals in the European Cup finals. But when limited to the UEFA Champions League, Cristiano Ronaldo is the player with the most goals, 4 goals in the UEFA Champions League. You see, the reason why I second to the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo is Mr. UEFA Champions League. Most penalty goals, Cristiano Ronaldo 19. Most free kick goals, Cristiano Ronaldo 12. Most final goals, Cristiano Ronaldo 4. Now, most goals in the UEFA Champions League, Cristiano Ronaldo 141, and the player with most appearances in the UEFA Champions League is Cristiano Ronaldo, 147 appearances. So all these key statistics goes to Cristiano Ronaldo. And he's also the player with most assists. He's also the player with most assists, 42 assists. You see. Lastly, before I bring this submission to an end, Cristiano Ronaldo is the player with most knockout goals. Most knockout goals. He has, I think, 69 knockout goals or so in just 83 knockout matches. Knockout is from the round of 16 to the semi-finals, or even the finals can be part. He's the player with most goals. Almost 70 goals in the knockout. 69, yeah. So you realize that every key statistics in the UEFA Champions League, or especially in the UEFA Champions League era, because Cristiano Ronaldo started playing in the European Cup during the UEFA Champions League era. You see, in 2003, 2004, that's when he started playing. And you see, the most significant thing about Cristiano Ronaldo is this: people don't know. Yes, he has most appearances, and I think Lionel Messi is on 156 appearances with 125 goals. So Lionel Messi trails Cristiano Ronaldo by just 16 goals. Okay, and if Cristiano Ronaldo don't take care and doesn't move out of Manchester United to find a Champions League team, Lionel Messi can equal him next season, all things being equal, because this season Karim Benzema top scored the Champions League with 15 goals, and Lionel Messi has also top scored the Champions League with 15 goals in times past. So he can replicate that and catch Ronaldo at the goal scoring charts up there. But Lionel Messi scored his first Champions League goal in the 2005-2006 season against Panathinaikos. So Messi had the Champions League goal even before Cristiano Ronaldo. People don't know. It took Cristiano Ronaldo 26 Champions League matches to register his first goal. And the most important thing, or the most significant thing, is that, which blows my mind sometimes, is that the rate at which he has been prolific in this tournament. You see, Raul Blanco Gonzalez held the record for most UCL goals, Champions League goals, for so many years. He was on 71 Champions League goals, scoring 66 for Real Madrid and 5 for Schalke 04. And you realize that record stood for so many years. But you see, in this generation, the greatest ever players, two of the greatest ever players to grace this beautiful game, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Especially Cristiano Ronaldo took just some few stint or time, same as Messi, to leapfrog Raul Gonzalez at the top. Ronaldo's first Champions League goal, I'm reminding my viewers here, if you can remember this famous match in the 2006-2007 season, Manchester United met Luciano Spalletti's AS Roma. That AS Roma team was a very, very strong team. That was the team that eliminated Real Madrid from the round of 16 the following season, 2007-2008. They had Mancini. That Mancini, I remember him scoring an outrageous, step over goal against Olympique Lyon at the Stade Gerland. That Mancini, that player, he was a very, very good player. And they had Tadei, who was a defender. They had the former Real Madrid defender Christian Panucci. They had Daniel De Rossi, Francesco Totti, you see, Pizarro. They had all these great players. Okay, and they were coached by the Italian tactician Luciano Spalletti. So in the 2006-2007 season, they met Manchester United in the quarterfinals, and in the first leg at the Stadio Olimpico, they beat the Red Devils by 2-1. Okay, I even think Cristiano Ronaldo scored that consolation goal for Manchester United in Rome. It was a headed goal, and I was watching one of his interviews. They asked him which of his goals is his favorite goals in the Champions League, and he said that goal. And it's very, very nice the way he came from behind it. I think it was Wayne Rooney that gave him the cross and he headed in. Manchester United lost by 2-1. So in the return leg, the players were fired up, and that match saw one of the best ever Champions League goals in terms of combination. I remember Alan Smith scoring a goal in that match, and it was the secret of one touch passing that tore Roma to shreds. One touch from the goalkeeper to Gabriel Heinze to Ryan Giggs, one touch pass to Alan Smith, and Alan Smith a one touch pass into the net. And you realize that goal is so nice. The ITV in 2007, when when they voted for their top 50 goals in the Champions League, that Zinedine Zidane's goal, his volley bicycle kick, or his volley goal against Leverkusen, was voted as the best ever Champions League goal. This goal I'm talking about from Alan Smith, that one touch passing and one touch finish, was I think it's part of the first 10. It was on number 7 or so. People should go and look for that goal and watch. So Manchester United were fired up. It's like they were angry with AS Roma, and they beat Roma by 7-1. I know most Manchester United fans remember this match. That was the time Cristiano Ronaldo started scoring a goal in the Champions League. It took him 26 matches to that match, and in that match he bagged a brace. He had 2 goals in that match. So Ronaldo scored his first and second goal against AS Roma in the 2008 season. Cristiano Ronaldo scored his first and second goal against AS Roma, Luciano Spalletti's AS Roma, in the 2006-2007 season. Okay, and since then, just about from 2007 to 2022 is a period of just 15 years. 15 years, and Cristiano Ronaldo, has 141 Champions League goals. So he's the player with most appearances, 147, most goals, 41, the player with most assists, 42, most final goals, 4, all-time joint, in terms of the trophies, all-time joint, most player with most trophies. Cristiano Ronaldo is indeed Mr. UEFA Champions League. Most knockout goals, and most knockout goals in a single season, he shares it with Karim Benzema, the recently ended season, 10. Most knockout goals, I think 69. Most free kick goals, 12. So Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro, the Portuguese goal scoring machine. We all know that. We all refer to him as the goal machine now, and you realize that Cristiano Ronaldo, the former Sporting Lisbon, Juventus and Real Madrid player, is one of the all-time greats in terms of this sport we call football. He's arguably the greatest ever. You can make a perfect argument for him. But for me, in the UEFA Champions League conversation from 1992-93 up to date, I believe he's Mr. UEFA Champions League. I believe Cristiano Ronaldo is Mr. UEFA Champions League. And all too soon, I've brought my submission to an end. Please comment and let's see whether you agree with me, whether Cristiano Ronaldo is Mr. UEFA Champions League, or he's the greatest ever player in the UEFA Champions League era. See you guys next time. Stay tuned for more, educative videos in the European Cup and also European football, and also tennis. Wimbledon 2022 is ongoing, so we'll be going into that one too. God bless you all. Bye bye.